name's Halithi. For those of you that don't know, I'm a PGY4 for the next 27 shifts. So hopefully very slow countdown there. My presentation is going to be on rich habits. So it's an approach to thinking about money as a broke ER resident. So hopefully some of this information will be useful to you guys. I started looking at a lot of this stuff for the last year and a half or so, and then I realized I was very ill-equipped graduating med school about all of this information. So hopefully there's some good stuff. All this advice is just for my research. I'm not a financial advisor, so take everything with a grain of salt. Okay, so like every good lecture, we're gonna start off with a case. So we got our intern, intern Willis. Starting off, very excited, fourth year med student at the end of fourth year. Just got into Kings County Emergency Medicine Residency Program. Super excited, been putting his head down in the books, studying for 8 years, and now finally the light at the end of the tunnel, right? He gets his contract. He sees that his income is $70,000. Okay, we know it's residency. It's never going to be that high, but it's good enough from just spending money on tuition to finally getting some money in the pocket. If the excitement kind of wears down a bit and you realize, oh, wow, I'm going to move to New York City. There's going to be taxes. So he goes on Google, looks up New York City income tax calculator, realize after taxes, the real income is more like 50. Okay, a little excitement has gone down, but it's not terrible. I can work with it, right? He thinks about, okay, I'm going to go look on Zillow. I'm going to live in an apartment somewhere. I've been living with roommates forever. So I finally want my own 1-bedroom studio somewhere in Brooklyn. It's pretty expensive now. With rent utilities around, say, $2,600 a month for the next year. So that's about 31 grand straight into rent. I think that was from 20. So yeah, I asked an average of people, and then this seems to be around the average that people spend. Now he thinks, okay, I'm just starting off my new class. I gotta enjoy life in New York City. I've never lived here before. Think about food, entertainment, right? My Uber rides, going out to all these bars and restaurants. Can't always drink out at a happy hour. What about those kind of impulse Amazon purchases? Maybe about $1,000 a month, right? And we think, oh, vacation. I mean, residency is hard, right? I gotta live my life to the fullest. I'm finally getting some cash in the pocket. Maybe $2 grand for a 2-week vacation for both times. Yeah. And then after that, oh, it's not looking too good. I got almost about $4,000 left, minus the $200,000 student debt that I accumulated from doing all this education. So I have a net worth of about negative $200,000. It's hard. It's rough. All this excitement with going to residency, this light at the end of the tunnel feels kind of fake. Right. So let's start into, after that sad note, savings. So where to put your money first. So what I'm going to go into is really a really basic overview. Try to make it as approachable as possible, because I remember when I started residency, our group chat was just going off about 401ks, 403bs. What does all this mean? Do I need to put money here? And then me realizing I don't have money, so I'm not going to think about it because I don't have time to put the stuff in, which I should have done, but that's what happened. So retirement, definitely somewhere to put your money first. As a basic overview, 401k, that's where you put your pre-tax dollars. You can basically take advantage of any retirement matching if you have it. I was downstate paid, so they did give about 8% of your salary matching per year if you did a certain minimum amount. And that was about average about to like $5,500 to $6,000 a year, which is very helpful. I know Kings County doesn't actually have that. So, but in the future, your employer probably will. Per year, you can do a max contribution of $23,000, which obviously our intern Willis can't do right now. We have something else called the Roth IRA. So these are post-tax dollars. You can do a max contribution of $7,000 a year for this. And even when you graduate residency and become a high income earner, you can still have a Roth IRA by doing a backdoor Roth IRA. This is beneficial to start now, as like, say you're a Kings County employee, you don't get any matching, because you can actually, because these are post-tax dollars, so you're taxed at a lower income. So it's better to put that now and at least try to contribute something there first. And there's also something called the HSA, which is essentially double tax savings. This can only be used for like medical expenses, but you can use it for yourself, your spouse, your kids, any dependents. But these are double tax savings. So it goes in tax-free and it comes out tax-free. So something also to think about. And I think that's the main thing I have. Yeah. So at least for me personally, as a downstate paid resident, I put the minimum amount to get my full match from downstate, and then if I had anything extra over, it would go to a Roth IRA. So I wouldn't necessarily match that. Okay, so now that we have that kind of basic understanding, we're going to look at our case again and kind of see the power of compound interest and why it's important to invest early. Compound interest is essentially interest on interest. So say I have $100, I'm going to put it in, and it compounds annually. After the end of the first year, and say there's a return rate of 10%. At the end of the first year, I have $110. At the end of the second year, that 10% is going, if I don't contribute anymore, that 10% is going to accumulate 110, not just 100. So over time, this kind of grows even more exponentially. So say our intern puts all that money into a one-time investment, never puts any more money back into this kind of fund. His current age is 30, and you want to retire at, say, 62. And these kind of return rates are basically based on the average return rate of the S&P 500 over the last 50 years. So about 10%. So if you only put 3,800, you never put any more money, you leave it, you don't touch it. At the end of at 62, you have 88 grand. So basically, you turn that $3,800 that you don't touch, you never looked at again, into $88,000 by the time you retire. Now, say you start residency at 25, and you start doing this at 3,800. So that's 5 years earlier, only by 5 years. You still do the same thing. You don't add any more money. You don't touch it. At retirement, you'll have $144,000. I had to go back, damn it. There you go. So you can see the way compound interest can just build your money with that small amount that you put in initially. So another kind of graphic to show investing early. So say instead of just putting $3,800, our intern puts in a monthly contribution of $100 because that's all he can afford at that time. Over 32 years with a return rate of 10%, you'll be putting in $42,200 over the period of 32 years. At the end of that 32 years, your future value is going to be $321,600 just by putting in $100 a month, not taking into account how high your income is going to be when you're attending. Obviously, the more you're able to put money in. This is just $100 a month. You can see the value of compound interest from just investing early. So it's important to really think about even during residency. Okay, so side hustles. And saving money in an expensive city. This is kind of what I did to save money, put money on the side, and kind of fund my travel, wellness things, but also investing. I've probably told a few people about this, but I did an Airbnb side hustle while I was in residency. So we rented out, me and my fiance rented out our apartment when we were on vacations, on weekend trips, to basically fund our vacations. So I actually calculated it, and this is kind of insane, but this is pre-tax money. And we did over the last 2 years, in about $34,000. This is pre-tax. Now it's kind of hard to do. I would tell people to do this if you really, don't mind having other people in your apartment, but it's a little bit hard because you got to get a license. But this is how much I got. So this saved me a lot of money. I kind of did a fun travel, like I said, and put investments in. Other ways to save money: roommates. I've actually talked to a lot of people about this. I know it's really hard when you live with roommates forever. So if it's non-negotiable, totally cool. But it is a great way to save money. My intern year, I came in, I looked at apartments. I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to live by myself. It's going to be great. It was so expensive. Even then, 4 years ago, it was $2,300 just to get a studio or a one bedroom that was decent. So I put in a group chat. Christy was my roommate for 2 years, and it was a great time. We'll spend, I don't know, $1,600 a month in rent, and it was a great way to save money. Buy nothing groups. I know some people use these. These are great. Half the furniture in my apartment is from a buy nothing group. I got free couches. I don't do mattresses. That's kind of weird, but people give that out. But great way to save money and get free furniture. I've got West Elm stuff. There's good stuff on there, and it's a great way to just save money as a resident when you only have $3,000 left to your name at the end of the day. too good to go. Great way to get free meals. Yeah, you guys know. $5, fresh baked bread, just at the end of the day. It's good stuff, right? Yeah. Other way to save money. I say no to delivery a lot. I know this is hard for some people, but I did a comparison yesterday and I was like, okay, there's one dish, there's $12. If this is all I wanted to order, yeah, don't close your ears. It was at the end of the day when I had to order, it was $25. So it almost more than double the price. It is so worth it to go walk and just save your money. Although I do understand sometimes it's hard. Pulse. I don't know if people use this. This is great. I use it to get brunch deals. You go out for dinner. Normally it's $100, right? You use Pulse, you get $40 for meal for two and also a bottle of wine. It's great. Save it, download it. It's like a Groupon for dinner and it works great in New York City. Seated. I don't know how many people know about this. Isn't it? Yeah, it's great. So you go out for dinner. Essentially, before I go out for dinner, I look up if the restaurant's unseated. You can make a reservation there. You're already going to spend $100, $200, whatever on dinner, right? A lot of these restaurants, if you make a reservation through this app, you can get 15% cash back. So I'll get whatever $30 back in credits, and I can use that to buy Uber gift cards that I use, Amazon. They have Delta credits too. It's a great also way to save money and get money back. Yeah, so those are just a few of the stuff. I use some other stuff, so just ask me for any money saving advice. Free comedy shows, all this entertainment. There's so many free ways to enjoy New York City without breaking the bank. Long-term financial goals. So basically, this is just something that when you are in residency, even though it's very overwhelming and you go in, you're like, oh, all I have to do is go to work, go home, sleep, study, whatever I need to do. And all this other stuff is I'll think about later. That's a lot of the attitude that I pretty much had in the beginning of residency is I'm going to think about this later. I'll figure this out later. I'll figure out retirement later. But it just kind of harms you. I think just thinking about your financial goals, what you want in your future, will help you kind of better plan for how can I make this happen, right? So like, are you a person who wants to travel the world? Are you someone that just wants to go to work every day and come back and enjoy your family and settle down and buy your first home and that kind of stuff? Do you want to buy fancy cars and clothes, which is totally okay if that's what you want to do? What can you do to make that happen starting now? When you start asking these questions, you can really start thinking about what you can do to make that happen. And then that's not working anymore. Next. There you go. So just a kind of like overall points, the earlier you start investing, the better, even if it's $100 a month that you can put aside towards your Roth or something. It's not much, but it's something to start. Mindful spending, right? Instead of going to delivery, I'll walk 10 minutes to go pick up the food instead, just to put money aside and save that. Start thinking about your long-term financial goals, about what you want in the future. You know, a lot of this talk is not really meant to like, oh, pinch pennies and don't spend money on everything and save all your money and don't do anything fun. It's more just spend money on things that you think are important. Like if that $5 coffee in the morning is something that you really need and that starts your day and makes you happy, then do it. Just be mindful of it and think about, okay, what can I cut down on if I'm going to get this? It's just trying to have that in your have that in your thought process basically before you end residency, and then you start attendingship and you're just like, oh, what do? I have no money. I don't just spending all that money versus like trying to work towards saving and planning your financial future. All right. These are just some stuff I've used. It's very approachable, nothing too complicated. I love the Rich Habits podcast, which is why I titled this Rich Habits. Your Rich BFF, even that sounds stupid, has great tips. Financial Feminist, White Coat Investor, always like a classic, whatever, investment book. There's a website called Physician Side Gigs. It's a great one to look at just for some inspiration of what you can do for side hustles when you're attending in the future. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great book. So stuff to read and enjoy about personal finance.